Well, the last time we talked, we were getting ready to head south for Alabama, so it's been a little over a month. Looking back, how would you rate this spring trip? I know you were pretty happy with it coming out of it, but now that you've had time to reflect.
I'm just as happy coming out of it. We were able to get a lot of good training in. We missed one session on the water due to conditions, but we got a good land workout in that I think everyone liked. So really, we got a lot of good technical work done. I mean, I was really, really happy with our training trip and our racing after the training trip too. It's hard to see a top 20 team when you've done 2-a-days for 10 days straight. You're not at your top end, but I was very happy with the gaps that we closed down, and looking forward to seeing how that equates the rest of the season.
Knowing the gap wasn't tremendous and you're actually able to close some time from last year, I mean, that shows the progression of the offseason dramatically, right?
Yeah, it does. What we're really looking at is talking to Alabama's coaches, like all their markers say they're getting faster. Looking at the results from the last couple of weeks, it looks like they're getting at least the same speed, if not faster than previously. So as we're going into it, we're looking at, they've gotten faster, that must mean we've gotten faster. Hopefully with the rest over the last couple of weeks of not having the 2-a-days, we're in a little bit better spot to race a little bit harder.
Coming home, having an opportunity now to face two teams on your home course, something that you've added more recently is home events. How important is getting more and more events on Ford Lake?
I think it's adding events, and it's adding the scope of events too. Just adding the 3 duels we've had the last year and what's happening this year, I think is a good start. Obviously, we're trying to expand and make those bigger races. It's nice because it's not a day of travel. We're looking at going to Boston next weekend and leaving super early in the morning, getting back super late at night. It's a lot of those logistics, and the stress is a lot for those races. And now for this, different logistics and stress for the coaching staff of getting set up. But for the athletes, it's just a much better experience. Like, they can sleep in their own bed. They can go home and have, be at their own house or place for a while. We're not riding around on buses trying to get to this place and schedule this thing. It's a little bit more freeing. And we can do like a back-to-back race weekend and not destroy their entire weekend or 2 or 3 days afterwards too.
For somebody who hasn't come out to an event at Ford Lake, what can they expect to see this weekend?
So the way the course is set up is the starting line's 2,000 meters away, which is about 1.2 miles. So you have a straight sight. The spectators on Ford Lake Park, that's where the finish line is going to be. So you can see the entire race. Most spectators aren't going to be able to pick out, particularly Eastern Michigan and Michigan State, both being green and white. You're not going to be able to really pick out who's who from far away. We also kind of have our blade designs are close enough. They're majority white. Ours have an E on them. Theirs has a green chevron on the end. But as you get closer, you'll be able to see a little bit more of like our unisuits have a E on the back. So you'll be able to see that. You'll really probably be able to see the second half of the race really well when it starts to get into your people's ability to like see what's going on. We're running duels, so it's just Eastern Michigan, Michigan State, or Eastern Michigan, Duquesne on Sunday. So it's nice because there aren't a bunch of teams you're trying to figure out. It's not 6 wide where you're trying to figure out those teams. And also it's a little bit easier to see results happening live because it's one-on-one and kind of the progression through the racing.
One of the exciting things that you get is the ability to put some new boats in the water. I know last week was a big thing for your program to get that, exchanging out some old boats. Walk us through the process of how that all came to be.
It's been a lot of work for a lot of years. As we've gone through the Title IX process in the last couple of years, we've really, as a university, reestablished like some of the priorities of our women's sports, and we've been a under developed part of the department, and we're now getting to see some of the benefits of the real Title IX evolution of the department. So, I mean, exchanging a boat that was bought 12 years ago for something brand new, and brand new top end boats that you see at NCAA championships, as well as we traded in another boat that was bought before I got here, and I've been here 14 years. So for two new boats, and it's redefining who we are as, maybe a okay mid-major to we're now interested in looking at being a player on the national stage and winning the conference championship, and like really having the support behind us to get us to that next step.
Lighter, faster, all those things I'm sure go into it, but how much advantage does a newer boat over an older boat have?
So it's really comes down to, like, in our world, it's stiffness. As a boat gets older, as it travels more, everything's carbon fiber. It breaks down almost at a molecular level and becomes kind of spongy almost. It has flex in it. And when you're talking about something that you're trying to put speed and power through, the more flex it has in it, the more you lose due to the flex. So changing for something that's actually our new boat, I think, is right on the FISA weight. The previous boat wasn't. It was a little bit lighter, but they use a lot more carbon to bring it up to the FISA weight, and so it's a lot stiffer, and it'll stay stiffer for longer. Also, some of the dynamics, carbon fiber riggers versus aluminum riggers, carbon fiber stiffer. The new kind of setup in rowing is a rear or bow mounted rigger, which is actually behind you. Our old boats were stern mounted riggers, and it's kind of the difference in pushing and pulling a little bit. These aren't things that gain you like a minute, but they're things that gain you like a couple seconds here, a couple seconds there, which they all add up. So, and I mean, it's also just the idea of rowing in something new and equal, and not being the poor kid on the block. Well,
and I'm also sure that it also reinforces to your kids and your student athletes that, hey, you guys are important, and really we value you being here.
Yeah, for a long time it kind of felt like we were why don't you be quiet and stay out of the lake and don't make any noise, and now it really feels like there's support and drive, and it's not just the boats. It's, for 12 years I didn't have an administrator come to a single practice because it was I got other things I need to do. And, Andy and Scott and Aaron have all been to practices at different times and come out and watch. They help with race. Like, they're really involved, and it changes the feeling of like your importance, because they do want to spend time and be around the athletes and not just, count our number and go away. It really changes for me and for my staff and the team, like, having people who care that aren't just the coaches is a different step up.
Well, and dovetailing that into it, you surprised them in a very special way too. I mean, being able to give them an honor that not many people get.
So, yeah, I mean, Scott, Andy, and Aaron have all really done a lot pushing the program and putting us in a place to be able to buy these new boats. So we felt it was only right for these boats to carry their names as we start racing them. That was, to be honest, a really easy decision to make, because I wanted to make sure they know how much we appreciate from our side all the work they do to make sure our program's in the right spot, all the work behind the scenes, all the work to, find ways to get us these things that we need to be successful and find the place we can be.
And more importantly, you pulled off a surprise for all three of them, because in these day and age, secrets get out all the time.
Yes, we were able to surprise all three of them. The hard part about that is making sure everyone's going to feel good about having things named after them. Some people don't like that. So there was some spouses involved with the secret. There were some administrators knew boats are going to be named after other administrators, but not about themselves. It was, I think we pulled off a pretty good surprise. And yeah, I thought we had blown it pretty close to the end, and then I think we carried it all the way through. I think everyone was fully surprised.
Well, now you can really yell at Andy when that boat's slower. You can say, Andy, you're just not fast enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the problem is going to be we have two of the same exact boat, the Route and the Keto, and which one we decide to take to races. Yeah, we're gonna have to see.
So this weekend you get the Big Ten first. Michigan
Yes.
State will make the trip down. Good ability to have a school from up north come to your facility and give some credence to your program. How important is something like this?
I mean, anytime, like for us, making this transition to actually racing Power 5 wasn't really available to us 5 years ago. I think that's something that speaks to the growth of the program, the growth of the athletes, the mentality of the athletes, and our ability to race at a higher level than we previously did. And, obviously having the Big Ten come to us is big. That doesn't happen a whole lot here. I think it speaks about the venue we're trying to get built and some of the relationships we've established pretty well. And anytime you can race people who are, Michigan State raced really well against Yale last weekend. Yale ended up ranked second. They raced some pretty good quality last weekend, so it gives us a good chance to kind of compare and hopefully make this a really competitive race.
MSU has a little extra special meaning for your family. Of course, your wife, a former rower there. I mean, what does it mean if your team is able to really show what they can do against a Big Ten school?
I mean, it's huge. Like any win from a mid-major against any Power 5 is, I think, big in any level. So for our family, I guess it's, the inside the room bragging rights. But it's, we really want to see this race fall. We were real close last year, and see if the training and conditioning we've done are going to carry over to this year.
And then you get the A-10 foe in Duquesne on the following day. How much is the quick trying to rest and regroup the biggest thing to get ready for the next day?
I think we made a couple changes that are going to help with that. With the last year, we did some second races, we did a 2,000 meter, then some 500s or 1,000s, and we got rid of those. I think that's going to help a lot. The nice part about a 2,000 meter race is it's not a ton of metabolic breakdown on you. It's not like you're rowing a marathon, then running a marathon the next day. It's really going to be sleep, recovery. We're doing it kind of mid-morning, which allows us to sleep in a little bit more than we normally would. I'm hoping that's going to allow everyone to kind of go to sleep and do the things they need to get set up. I don't, some of our races you can race 3 times in over 2 days. The NCAA championship, you can race 4 times over 3 days. So going back to back 2 days in a row is probably pretty good for us, just in the practice. And then also, it's not, I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but we trained to do this. Is there a particular race or races that you're most excited about to watch over these next 2 days? Obviously, you're always looking at the first varsity 8, but for me, after Alabama, I'm really interested to see how our second varsity 8 races. Last year, there was a big gap between our first 8 and second 8. That gap seems to have come down a lot. I'm hoping that gap's come down a lot because our second 8's gotten a lot faster. But seeing that kind of transition as we go of the depth, because in order to win a conference championship, you have to score in the top 3 usually of the varsity 8, second varsity 8, and the 4. So we need that depth, and we need the 2V to start shining as a leader in the conference. And then my last question is, if somebody's coming out, where or should they park to make sure that they're staying out of the way, or vice versa? Where's a good vantage point for people to watch at? So the boathouse is going to be closed for only competitors, so that No one should be over in that area beside the teams. The spectators should park at Ford Lake Park. It's off Huron River Drive. There's a lot of parking over there. You'll see tents set up for our alumni and parents, as well as the finish line tent will be set up down there. So it'll be pretty easy to find. There's a big gravel parking lot that's for normal parking. There's also a big parking lot that's for boat fishing trailers. Maybe you're not supposed to park there, but that might be good overflow. So that would be the best area to watch, and that'll give you a really good view of the last 1,000.
Awesome. Alumni coming back, and I know this is a good weekend, especially for them to come back and be proud of their program.
Yep. And I think it's a good chance for our alumni to come see like a lot of the progress we've made. It's at our, at home. Only a very few alumni ever raced on Ford Lake. They can see kind of the progress they're making there. They can see the progress in the equipment. Some of them haven't seen the boathouse yet. Not that it's going to be super open, but get a chance to kind of see what all the years where they kind of slogged through and kept the team going and kept the progression up are starting to pay off, and how that's coming through for everybody.